let's talk about Caitlin Clark and the idea of a government probe or an investigation into hostile work environments being conducted by the government because of the actions that the league itself and some of the players have had.
The WNBA world just erupted into chaos after reports emerged that Caitlin Clark's agents escalated serious concerns to federal authorities, and the league is reportedly scrambling to respond. What started as internal tension over contracts, media narratives, and player treatment has now spiraled into a situation that insiders are calling unprecedented. Sources close to the situation say that league executives are panicking, trying to contain the fallout before it reaches public scrutiny. But once federal involvement enters the picture, there's no easy way to control the story. Caitlin Clark, one of the brightest stars in the WNBA, has been at the center of criticism for months. Critics questioned her influence, her decisions, and even her leadership style on the court. But what many didn't anticipate was that her representation would escalate matters beyond league offices. This move signals that Clark's team is serious about protecting her career, reputation, and rights, and that they are willing to take drastic steps if necessary. Insiders say the escalation to federal authorities has thrown WNBA leadership into a tailspin. Suddenly, what might have been a standard league dispute is now under heightened scrutiny, raising questions about governance, accountability, and power dynamics within the sport. For league officials, the situation is delicate. Missteps could not only damage relationships with players but also tarnish the league's public image and credibility. Fans, analysts, and commentators are already speculating on what this could mean for future negotiations, league policies, and player protection standards. Social media erupted almost instantly. Fans of Clark praised her and her team for taking decisive action, interpreting it as a bold statement against unfair treatment and systemic oversight. Critics, meanwhile, speculated about the potential consequences for the league and whether federal involvement could escalate into larger investigations or public scandals. The story spread across platforms, with viral posts, threads, and video breakdowns analyzing every known detail. Every move made by the WNBA leadership is now under a microscope, further intensifying the pressure. This escalation highlights a larger truth about professional sports. Players, especially those at the top of their game like Caitlin Clark, now wield unprecedented influence not just on the court, but in legal and administrative arenas as well. Her agents' actions are warning that elite athletes are increasingly willing to leverage all available tools to protect their interests. For the WNBA, it's a moment of reckoning, a test of leadership, crisis management, and the league's ability to adapt to a player-driven era where accountability and power are no longer one-sided. The question now is simple but urgent. How will WNBA leadership respond? Can they navigate this high-stakes situation without further damaging the league's reputation? And what precedent does this set for player-league relations going forward? Fans, insiders, and commentators are watching closely because the next moves could reshape the WNBA forever. The story is unfolding in real time, and no one is predicting what comes next, but one thing is certain. The stakes have never been higher, and the league is on high alert. The WNBA has been thrown into unprecedented turmoil after reports surfaced that Caitlin Clark's agents escalated concerns to federal authorities, sending league leadership into what insiders are calling a full-scale panic. Sources suggest that the situation has evolved far beyond internal disagreements or standard contract disputes. Caitlin Clark, one of the league's brightest stars and most influential figures, is now at the center of a storm that threatens to shake the foundation of the WNBA. While her critics have scrutinized her on-court performance and off-court decisions for months, few anticipated that her representation would take such aggressive legal steps, signaling that the stakes are far higher than most fans realize. According to insiders close to Clark's camp, this escalation was the result of mounting frustration over how the league handled multiple issues regarding player treatment, media narratives, and administrative accountability. Clark's team reportedly attempted to resolve matters internally over the past several months, but their repeated efforts to communicate and negotiate with league officials allegedly fell on deaf ears. The involvement of federal authorities, then, is not a spur-of-the-moment decision. It is the culmination of ongoing tension and a clear message that the league cannot ignore her concerns any longer. For the WNBA, this development has been described as a crisis of confidence. Leadership is reportedly scrambling to understand the full implications of federal involvement, weighing legal, public relations, and internal operational consequences. Executives are facing pressure not only from Clark's team but also from stakeholders, sponsors, and fans who are closely monitoring the situation. The league's response is critical. Any misstep could be interpreted as negligence or even intentional obstruction, magnifying scrutiny and potentially sparking wider controversy that extends far beyond Clark herself. The stakes are particularly high because Caitlin Clark is not just any athlete. She is a generational talent whose influence extends far beyond the court. Her performance, media presence, and growing reputation have made her a cornerstone of the league's branding strategy, meaning that any disruption involving her has immediate financial and cultural implications. Fans, analysts, and commentators have quickly recognized this, using social media to dissect every public statement and action from the WNBA in search of signs about the league's next move. Memes, discussion threads, and reaction videos quickly went viral, highlighting the intense public interest in both Clark's situation and the league's handling of it. Inside league offices, sources suggest that meetings are taking place almost continuously as officials attempt to strategize a response. Executives reportedly understand that the federal escalation changes the dynamics entirely. Previously, disputes with players could be contained through internal committees, negotiations, or arbitration. Federal involvement, however, introduces an entirely new dimension of accountability and potential legal consequences. Even small missteps could become public, attracting media coverage that amplifies pressure and increases reputational risk for the league. In short, what might have started as internal frustration has now transformed into a full-blown organizational crisis. The reactions among players have also been notable. While some have remained silent, likely waiting for official updates, others are expressing support for Clark, praising her and her agents for standing up to the league and taking decisive action. Social media feeds have filled with posts underscoring the importance of player rights, fair treatment, and accountability. For many athletes, this situation represents a turning point. It's a clear signal that even top-tier talent will leverage legal avenues if necessary to protect their careers and reputations. The cultural and symbolic weight of this action cannot be overstated. It represents a shift in power dynamics, where players are increasingly asserting influence beyond performance metrics and statistics. Could federal involvement lead to investigations into league practices, contracts, or administrative decisions? Might this prompt a broader review of policies regarding player treatment, media management, or league governance? While these questions remain unanswered, it is clear that the situation is unprecedented in its scale and potential impact. The WNBA is now under intense scrutiny, not just from Caitlin Clark's team but from media, fans, and stakeholders worldwide, all of whom are tracking the story closely. Adding another layer to the crisis is the timing. Caitlin Clark's star has been rising rapidly, with her influence on the league, sponsorships, and fan engagement reaching new heights. Her team's decision to escalate to federal authorities at this particular moment ensures maximum leverage and visibility, making it difficult for the league to manage the situation quietly. Sources suggest that leadership is acutely aware of this, and executives are reportedly exploring multiple avenues to mitigate fallout while addressing the concerns raised. Every public or private statement is scrutinized, and the league is under pressure to demonstrate that it is acting responsibly, transparently, and fairly. At its core, this situation is about power, influence, and accountability. Caitlin Clark's agents have demonstrated that even the highest levels of talent cannot be ignored, and that players have the ability to escalate disputes beyond internal processes when necessary. For the WNBA, this is a wake-up call, an urgent reminder that leadership, reputation, and player relations must be managed carefully, or risk spiraling into public controversy. Fans are closely watching, waiting to see how the league responds, while Clark supporters are applauding her proactive stance and commitment to protecting her career. The coming days and weeks are critical. How the WNBA chooses to navigate this federal escalation will likely have lasting consequences, shaping not only the league's relationship with its players but also its broader public image. Every decision, statement, and negotiation will be analyzed, and the pressure to act decisively is immense. Caitlin Clark has positioned herself at the center of a pivotal moment in WNBA history, and the league's next moves will determine whether this situation becomes a turning point for positive change or a cautionary tale of leadership missteps under scrutiny. This is just the beginning. The story is unfolding in real time, and fans, analysts, and insiders alike are watching closely. Caitlin Clark's team has made it clear they will not back down, and the league is facing one of the most intense challenges of its history. Every move from here on out will matter, and the world is waiting to see what happens next. The escalation of Caitlin Clark's concerns to federal authorities has sent shockwaves through the WNBA, sparking a crisis that league leadership reportedly did not anticipate. Sources close to the situation indicate that the league is scrambling to respond, trying to contain the situation while maintaining public confidence. This is a high-stakes moment for both Clark and the WNBA, as federal involvement elevates what may have been an internal dispute into a matter with serious legal and reputational consequences. With her star power and influence at an all-time high, Clark's actions have shifted the balance of power, signaling that top athletes now wield authority not just on the court, but also in legal and administrative arenas. According to insiders, the escalation stems from repeated attempts by Clark's representatives to address multiple issues internally with the league. These issues reportedly include concerns about player treatment, inconsistencies in league enforcement of policies, and disagreements over media narratives surrounding her performance and public perception. While the league may have initially tried to handle these matters quietly, the persistence and legal sophistication of Clark's team made federal involvement an inevitable step. This move underscores the seriousness with which her representation views her rights, career, and reputation. Inside WNBA offices, sources suggest that executives are operating in crisis mode. Meetings have reportedly been convened continuously to strategize the league's next steps, weighing legal, PR, and operational considerations simultaneously. Unlike previous internal disputes that could be contained, federal escalation introduces an entirely new level of scrutiny. Decisions made now carry long-term consequences not only for the league's relationship with Clark but also for its credibility among players, sponsors, and the public. Every action taken is under close observation, and missteps could intensify public criticism or even lead to legal repercussions. The internal tension is compounded by the timing of the escalation. Caitlin Clark's profile is at a peak. Her on-court performance, social media influence, and sponsorship deals have made her one of the most prominent athletes in the league. Her agent's decision to escalate matters now ensures that the WNBA cannot ignore her concerns without significant scrutiny. Leadership reportedly recognizes that a mishandled response could damage trust with other players, signaling that top athletes may be vulnerable to mistreatment or administrative oversight. This places additional pressure on executives to craft a response that addresses Clark's concerns while mitigating reputational risk. Players across the league are reportedly watching closely, many expressing private support for Clark's actions. While public comments are limited, the message among peers is clear. Standing up for your rights and protecting your career is essential, and even the league's highest-profile stars are willing to escalate matters when necessary. Social media has amplified this narrative, with fans praising Clark for taking decisive action while analysts speculate about the broader implications for player-league relations. The move is seen as a landmark moment in professional sports, highlighting how modern athletes leverage legal and public mechanisms to assert influence. Analysts also note that this escalation could have long-term effects on league governance. Federal involvement may prompt investigations into policies, practices, and enforcement mechanisms, potentially reshaping how the WNBA handles internal disputes, contracts, and player treatment. The league may need to implement more transparent processes and stronger oversight mechanisms to prevent similar situations in the future. For leadership, this is an opportunity to demonstrate accountability and a commitment to fairness, though the challenge lies in navigating the situation without appearing reactive or defensive. Public perception is another critical factor. Social media has exploded with discussions, memes, and analysis of a situation. Fans are dissecting every statement from league officials, sponsors, and Clark herself, attempting to predict the outcomes of the federal escalation. Many supporters view her actions as a necessary assertion of power, while others speculate about potential consequences for the league, including policy changes or reputational damage. The viral nature of these discussions illustrates the heightened stakes. In today's media landscape, internal disputes quickly become public spectacles, with reputational implications for all parties involved. The WNBA's response strategy reportedly involves careful communication with both the media and other players. Executives must navigate the delicate balance between defending the league's practices and acknowledging legitimate concerns raised by Clark's representatives. Every statement is likely scrutinized for tone, content, and potential legal implications, highlighting how high-profile athletes can influence organizational behavior beyond their on-court performance. The federal involvement amplifies this dynamic, ensuring that the league operates under intense pressure until the situation is resolved. This situation also underscores the broader evolution of professional sports, where athletes increasingly assert influence over administrative and legal decisions. Caitlin Clark's actions exemplify a growing trend, top talent leveraging their prominence to demand fairness, transparency, and accountability. For the WNBA, This is a pivotal moment that could shape future interactions with players, setting precedents for how internal disputes are handled and how leadership responds to escalations. The league's handling of this situation will be closely watched not only by fans but by other athletes who may consider similar actions in the future. Ultimately, the federal escalation of Caitlin Clark's concerns is more than a singular incident. It is a reflection of shifting dynamics in professional sports. Players now hold significant power, and their voices carry weight both on and off the court. The WNBA faces a critical test, responding effectively to protect its credibility while addressing legitimate concerns. Every action, every statement, and every negotiation will be analyzed, making the stakes higher than ever before. As the story unfolds, the decisions made in these next crucial days will likely have lasting implications for the league, its players, and the future of professional women's basketball. Fans, analysts, and insiders are all watching closely, and the impact of this situation will resonate far beyond the immediate crisis. The federal escalation involving Caitlin Clark has thrown the WNBA into one of the most turbulent periods in its history. Sources close to the situation indicate that league leadership is operating under immense pressure, scrambling to understand and contain the ramifications of federal involvement. What initially began as internal disagreements over player treatment, media narratives, and administrative accountability has now evolved into a crisis that could redefine how the league handles disputes with its top athletes. Caitlin Clark, already one of the most influential players in women's basketball, has positioned herself at the center of this storm, signaling that she and her agents will not hesitate to use every tool available to protect her interests and career. Insiders suggest that the escalation was not sudden but the culmination of months of frustration. Clark's representatives reportedly attempted to address concerns directly with league leadership multiple times, only to find their efforts largely dismissed or delayed. These concerns reportedly cover a broad spectrum: inconsistencies in policy enforcement, unfair media portrayals, and questions regarding the league's handling of player safety, contracts, and personal branding opportunities. The decision to involve federal authorities was likely a calculated move, intended to ensure that Clark's concerns could no longer be minimized or overlooked. Within WNBA leadership, the reaction has reportedly been one of panic and urgency. Executives are holding continuous strategy meetings, weighing legal implications alongside public relations challenges. Unlike disputes confined to internal review committees or private negotiations, federal involvement introduces a higher level of scrutiny, where every decision is analyzed for legality, optics, and precedent. Leadership is acutely aware that missteps now could lead to widespread criticism, potential litigation, and loss of trust among players, fans, and sponsors alike. The league's ability to navigate this delicate situation will determine not only the outcome of Clark's specific concerns but also its long-term credibility. Timing has intensified the pressure. Caitlin Clark is at the peak of her influence in the WNBA, with her on-court performances, social media presence, and endorsement deals attracting national attention. Escalating matters to federal authorities now maximizes leverage and visibility, making it nearly impossible for the league to address the situation quietly or without transparency. Insiders note that this strategic timing ensures that Clark's concerns demand a response that is both serious and immediate. Any attempt to downplay or delay action could be interpreted as negligence or bad faith, further escalating scrutiny from the public and media. Players across the league are reportedly watching closely, and the ripple effect of this escalation is significant. While most athletes have remained publicly neutral, private conversations suggest admiration for Clark's assertiveness. Social media buzz has amplified this narrative, with fans praising her and her agents for standing up to league leadership and demanding accountability. Analysts have also weighed in, highlighting that this incident reflects a broader shift in professional sports. Elite athletes now have the tools and influence to affect administrative decisions, and they are increasingly willing to exercise that power when necessary. From a governance perspective, the escalation could trigger a re-evaluation of league policies and processes. Federal involvement may prompt formal investigations or reviews into contract structures, player treatment policies, and administrative practices. League officials reportedly recognize that this situation could set a precedent for how player concerns are handled moving forward, emphasizing transparency and fairness as core requirements. For the WNBA, this is an opportunity to demonstrate accountability, yet the challenge lies in balancing effective leadership with legal prudence and public perception. The public reaction has been immediate and intense. Social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are awash with fan reactions, memes, and debates. Many applaud Clark for taking decisive action, framing it as a necessary assertion of player rights and influence. Others speculate about the potential fallout, from policy reforms to leadership shakeups. This attention underscores the heightened stakes. Every statement from league officials, Caitlin Clark, or her representatives is analyzed and interpreted in the court of public opinion. The viral nature of the story has transformed what might have been an internal administrative matter into a global discussion about fairness, accountability, and player empowerment. League insiders also indicate that internal communications are at an all-time high. Executives are reportedly drafting statements, reviewing legal options, and coordinating with communications teams to ensure that every move minimizes risk while signaling seriousness in addressing Clark's concerns. Simultaneously, there is pressure to maintain confidence among other players, who are observing the situation as a potential blueprint for asserting their rights. Leadership must manage these competing priorities while navigating the unprecedented legal scrutiny brought by federal involvement. At the heart of the situation is a fundamental shift in the power dynamics between athletes and league governance. Caitlin Clark's team has demonstrated that even high-profile leagues cannot ignore the rights and influence of top talent. By escalating to federal authorities, her representatives have made a statement that goes beyond personal grievances. It's a signal to the league and the broader sports world that player advocacy is evolving. Athletes now possess the leverage, knowledge, and public support to enforce accountability and ensure their interests are prioritized. Ultimately, the WNBA faces a critical moment. Decisions made over the next several weeks could reshape player-league relations for years to come. The league must balance legal considerations, public perception, and internal governance while addressing Clark's concerns in a manner that preserves its credibility. Every action, statement, and negotiation will be dissected, both internally and externally, highlighting the high-stakes nature of the current crisis. Caitlin Clark has positioned herself at the center of this historic moment, and the WNBA's response will determine whether this episode becomes a milestone for positive change or a cautionary tale about mismanaging player relations under scrutiny. Fans, media, and insiders are watching closely, and the league's next moves will shape the future of professional women's basketball in ways that extend far beyond this single incident. The ongoing escalation involving Caitlin Clark and federal authorities has created an unprecedented situation in the WNBA, sending shockwaves throughout the league, its leadership, and the broader basketball community. According to insiders, what began as internal concerns over player treatment, media narratives, and contract negotiations has now evolved into a high-stakes crisis that has exposed vulnerabilities in league governance. Leadership is reportedly scrambling to manage the fallout, facing pressure not only from Clark's team but also from sponsors, fans, and other stakeholders who are closely monitoring the situation. The involvement of federal authorities adds a layer of complexity that fundamentally changes how the league must respond, demanding careful legal strategy alongside effective public communication. Sources close to Clark's representatives suggest that this escalation was the result of repeated attempts to resolve issues internally. These attempts reportedly involved formal complaints, private meetings, and written communications addressing inconsistencies in policy enforcement, perceived bias in media coverage, and broader concerns regarding player treatment and safety. Frustrated by what her team considered insufficient responses, Clark's agents opted for federal escalation as a strategic move, ensuring that their concerns could not be ignored and sending a clear signal that the league must act decisively. Within the WNBA, leadership is reportedly in crisis mode. Executives have convened continuous meetings to assess legal risks, review internal procedures, and coordinate messaging to players, media, and the public. Unlike typical disputes resolved internally, federal involvement introduces external scrutiny that has far-reaching implications for the league's reputation and operational stability. Every decision made by leadership is being evaluated for potential legal consequences, optics, and long-term precedent, making the pressure almost unbearable. Sources indicate that some executives are concerned that even minor missteps could result in public criticism, erosion of player trust, or further escalation. The timing of the escalation has amplified its impact. Caitlin Clark's profile has skyrocketed due to exceptional on-court performance, increasing media attention, and lucrative sponsorship deals. Her agent's decision to involve federal authorities now is strategic, ensuring maximum leverage and visibility. For the league, this timing creates additional pressure to respond effectively, as any perceived delay, miscommunication, or inaction could be interpreted as negligence or disregard for player rights. Insiders note that this has sparked urgent conversations among league executives about immediate reforms and proactive engagement with top athletes to prevent further escalation. Reactions among players have also been noteworthy. While most players have chosen to remain publicly neutral, privately, Many express admiration for Clark's assertiveness. The escalation is widely seen as a bold statement about the evolving power dynamics between players and league governance. Social media platforms are filled with reactions praising Clark's willingness to hold the league accountable, emphasizing that athletes today have access to legal and public tools to protect their careers and reputations. Analysts have described this as a turning point, highlighting that even elite athletes are no longer constrained by traditional administrative processes and can directly influence league operations. The federal escalation may also have lasting implications for league policies. Experts suggest that this situation could prompt a formal review of contract structures, player treatment protocols, and media relations strategies. Leadership may be forced to implement new oversight mechanisms and transparency standards to prevent similar disputes in the future. While this presents challenges, it also offers the league an opportunity to demonstrate accountability, fairness, and responsiveness, potentially setting a precedent for how top athletes are treated and how disputes are managed moving forward. The public reaction has been immediate and intense. Social media users have dissected every statement, post, and action from both the WNBA and Clark's team. Many fans laud Clark for taking decisive action, framing it as a necessary assertion of power in a system where athletes are often overlooked. Others speculate about possible outcomes, including leadership changes, policy revisions, or legal repercussions. The virality of these discussions underscores the elevated stakes, as public perception can now influence both legal proceedings and internal league dynamics. Fans are effectively participating in the narrative, shaping how the situation is perceived and how it will ultimately unfold. Meanwhile, league communications teams reportedly face an enormous challenge. Executives must balance legal caution with public transparency, ensuring that statements convey seriousness and responsiveness without compromising their legal position. Internal coordination is equally critical, as leadership works to reassure other players and stakeholders that the league remains committed to fairness, safety, and professional standards. The high-profile nature of Clark's case has made these efforts urgent, as missteps could exacerbate public scrutiny and trigger additional escalations from other athletes observing the situation closely. At the core of this crisis is a significant shift in the balance of power within professional sports. Caitlin Clark's escalation demonstrates that players today possess unprecedented leverage, capable of compelling leagues to respond swiftly and transparently. By taking the issue to federal authorities, Clark's team has signaled that even highly visible athletes can enforce accountability and challenge administrative decisions when internal processes fail. This represents a broader trend in professional sports, where players are asserting their rights, influence, and voice far beyond their on-court performance. Ultimately, the WNBA now faces a defining moment. How the league navigates this escalation will determine its relationship with current and future athletes, as well as its broader public reputation. Leadership must act decisively, balancing legal strategy, player relations, and public perception. Caitlin Clark has emerged not only as a leading player on the court but also as a powerful force in shaping league accountability. Fans, analysts, and insiders are watching every move, and the outcome of this escalation could redefine professional women's basketball, establishing new standards for player rights, league governance, and accountability in sports. As the situation unfolds, questions remain. Will federal involvement prompt long-term reforms? How will the league restore trust with players and stakeholders? And what precedent does this set for athletes asserting their influence in the future? The answers are critical, as they will shape the WNBA's trajectory for years to come, solidifying Caitlin Clark's role as a transformative figure both on and off the court. Fans and insiders alike are closely monitoring every development, knowing that the next moves could change the face of women's professional basketball forever. The situation surrounding Caitlin Clark and federal involvement has intensified, casting a spotlight on the WNBA in ways the league has never experienced before. According to insiders, the escalation has sparked deep concern among executives, players, and even external stakeholders like sponsors and media partners. What started as internal frustration over league policies, player treatment, and media narratives has now transformed into a high-stakes crisis with potential legal, reputational, and cultural ramifications. Every action taken by the league is now scrutinized, not just by fans and media but by federal authorities, placing leadership under unprecedented pressure to respond decisively while safeguarding the league's credibility. League insiders indicate that Caitlin Clark's escalation was deliberate, intended to send a message that her concerns could no longer be dismissed. Her agents reportedly compiled extensive documentation of grievances, ranging from perceived inconsistencies in enforcement of league rules to instances of media bias and unfair treatment. The decision to involve federal authorities underscores the seriousness of her team's approach, signaling that Clark's interests, both personal and professional, are non-negotiable. Sources suggest this move was calculated to maximize leverage while ensuring that the league addresses these issues promptly and transparently. Inside the WNBA, the response has been described as frantic but calculated. Executives have reportedly convened back-to-back strategy sessions to navigate the complexities of federal involvement. Legal teams are reviewing potential consequences, communications teams are drafting public and internal messaging, and operational teams are assessing any immediate risks to player relations. Unlike prior disputes, this situation cannot be contained through internal channels alone. Federal escalation changes the dynamic entirely, making the stakes higher and forcing leadership to carefully calibrate every statement and action to avoid further scrutiny. Timing has played a critical role in amplifying the impact of this situation. Caitlin Clark's influence is at an all-time high, driven by her on-court dominance, growing media presence, and sponsorship deals. Her agent's decision to escalate now ensures that the league must respond under a national spotlight, increasing the visibility of both her grievances and the WNBA's handling of them. Leadership reportedly recognizes that delays or missteps could intensify criticism and erode trust not only with Clark but with other players who are watching closely. The situation has become a benchmark moment for how top athletes exercise influence over league governance. The reactions among players have been significant, though mostly measured publicly. Privately, many express support for Clark's assertiveness, viewing the escalation as a necessary assertion of rights and influence. Social media has become a platform for commentary, with fans and analysts alike praising Clark for taking bold action. The broader message is clear: elite athletes today are no longer confined to the court. They wield power in legal and administrative arenas as well. Analysts have framed this as a turning point in professional sports, where players are increasingly capable of holding organizations accountable when internal processes fail to protect their interests. Federal involvement may also trigger long-term reforms in the league. Experts suggest that investigations could examine policies, procedures, and enforcement mechanisms, potentially prompting structural changes to ensure fairness and transparency. Leadership reportedly understands that demonstrating accountability in response to this situation could bolster the league's credibility, while mismanagement could undermine trust among players and fans alike. This moment presents both risk and opportunity, highlighting the importance of strategic decision-making under pressure. Public reaction has been intense and widespread. Fans are dissecting every comment, post, and statement, amplifying scrutiny of the league's response. Many admire Clark's determination to hold the WNBA accountable, framing her actions as an empowering example of athlete advocacy. Others speculate on the possible consequences, including reforms in governance, policy adjustments, or leadership accountability. The virality of these discussions underscores the reality that high-profile sports disputes now play out not only in offices and boardrooms but also across social media, where public perception can heavily influence outcomes. League communications teams face enormous challenges as they attempt to manage both internal and external narratives. Executives must balance the need for transparency with the legal necessity of caution. Messaging must reassure other players that the league is committed to fairness while signaling to federal authorities that the WNBA is taking Clark's concerns seriously. Every word matters, and mistakes could exacerbate the situation, heightening scrutiny and prolonging the crisis. Insiders suggest that the pressure to align legal strategy with public perception has created one of the most high-stakes communication challenges the league has faced. At its core, this crisis reflects a fundamental shift in power dynamics within professional sports. Caitlin Clark's escalation demonstrates that top athletes are no longer passive participants. They have both the ability and the willingness to influence decisions, policies, and governance. By involving federal authorities, her team has highlighted a broader trend in sports. Athletes are asserting agency over their careers, reputations, and environments, reshaping the relationship between talent and leadership. The WNBA's handling of this situation could set a precedent, influencing how disputes are managed and how players exercise influence in the future. The stakes are immense, and the outcome of this escalation will shape the WNBA for years to come. Leadership must navigate the crisis carefully, balancing legal strategy, operational stability, and public trust while addressing Clark's concerns in a meaningful way. Fans, analysts, and insiders are watching closely, and every move will be scrutinized. Caitlin Clark's actions have already made her a transformative figure, not only as a player but as an advocate for accountability and fairness in professional women's basketball. The league now faces the ultimate test, responding effectively while preserving trust, credibility, and the integrity of the sport. Questions remain. Will federal involvement result in tangible reforms? Can the league restore confidence with players and stakeholders? How will this episode influence the balance of power between athletes and leadership going forward? The answers will define the WNBA's trajectory and potentially reshape the culture of professional women's basketball. One thing is certain: Caitlin Clark has established herself as a central figure in a historic moment, and the league's actions in the coming weeks will determine whether this chapter becomes a turning point for positive change or a cautionary tale of leadership mismanagement under scrutiny. Fans and insiders alike are watching every development, knowing that the future of the league and its relationship with elite players hangs in the balance. The WNBA is at a crossroads, and Caitlin Clark's bold move has shaken the league to its core. What do you think about this escalation to federal authorities? Is it a necessary step to protect player rights, or is it going too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation. Fans all over the world are weighing in, and your opinion matters. If you're following this story as closely as we are, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates. From insider reactions to public statements, player responses, and breaking news on league reforms, we'll keep you informed every step of the way. Don't just watch the story unfold. Be part of the discussion, share your views, and stay ahead of every development in this historic moment for the WNBA and professional women's basketball.